Hey everybody, it's Romania Black. It's Skate the Infinity and it's a beach episode. So, of course, I had to be thematic, right? I am so excited. And so is my dog Huckleberry. He's like right there. He's excited too. If you don't already know, I'm kind of obsessed with this show. just a wee bit. And I'm so excited. Last episode, we were building up all this with Adam. Adam gets a lot of hate, I've noticed on Twitter. And I've stuck away from spoilers, but I do see periodic posts where people are just like, F Adam, and I hate Adam. And I'm like, he's so interesting, though. I feel like a lot of this series I'm going to be talking about Adam because there's just a lot to unpack with his character. And I'm kind of all about that because unlike Hisoka with Hunter x Hunter, I feel like Hisoka, you get a bit of his characterization, but he's mostly shrouded in mystery. So there's not a lot to talk about him. But with Adam, you can break down lots of things. And there's all of these biblical allegories that we're starting to get into with Adam and Eve in the last episode that I feel are going to be broken down. And for the record, I went back and Woo on Patreon, thank you for telling me this, but she pointed out that Adam is a member of the Japanese of Diet, which I didn't know what that was, but it's parliament. It's basically Japanese parliament. He's a politician. And I was like, oh, I thought he was just like a speaker for a company or he owned a business, but no, he's a politician. That is perfect for Adam because it makes so much sense, this persona he's put on, why he's a good communicator, why he's very schmoozy with his words. It all makes sense if he's a politician. And it makes sense why he's in that profession to try to win over his aunt's respect and the respect of others in the profession as well. It also ties into, and I'll get to Adam and Eve here in a second, but it also ties into the idea of why it's so important that the S is not broken into by the police, because the police kind of raided the place at the end of last episode, thankfully, before things got weirder. And it makes sense why Adam was so furious because, you know, Hiromi has the persona of Shadow, right? And Cherry Blossom and Kaoru has the persona of Cherry Blossom. And so they have their professional lives and then their S lives are kind of separated from that. And for Hiromi and Kaoru, yeah, it's kind of important that it doesn't get out that Hiromi's this guy in clown makeup posing as Shadow, the antagonist of the S. And it's probably not good for Kaoru's business if he's, you know, portrayed differently than the persona he puts on for work. So that totally makes sense. But for Adam, it is especially important that his persona of the Matador of Love does not get out. Because unlike just being a florist or running an AI company, Adam's a politician. So he's not only representing himself, he's representing constituents and he's representing the Japanese government. So yeah, it probably makes sense that he doesn't want it getting out that he's running an underground skate rink and that people are getting hurt. Because there's liabilities to that, right? Probably doesn't want that getting out. So yeah, it makes things a lot bit spicier, as Adam would say, and a lot more interesting that he doesn't want that getting out. Now with the Adam and Eve thing, I'm seeing all these biblical allegories, and I have a feeling that I'm just gonna, by the end of this series, have a giant mug just labeled skate symbolism and biblical allegories. I'm just gonna be like drinking out of it because it makes sense that Adam's looking for his Eve, because if you are familiar with any type of biblical text, you know that Eve was constructed from Adam, that Eve was made from Adam's rib. And there's a degree, depending on if you are religious or you have a religious viewpoint, there is in some sects of Christianity, there is this idea of submission and the idea of the woman submitting to the man in their relationship. And Eve, in this case, is the woman and Adam is the man. So it makes a lot of sense with Adam's very dominating, controlling, micromanaging personality that he'd be looking for an Eve that he can control or that will submit to him but still be alongside him. So it's like he's basically wanting someone that is going to be constantly with him and rivaling and challenging him, but that isn't stronger than him, that is still submitting to him in a sense. One, Longa ain't it. One, gross, no, bad touch. But also, Longa, as we established in the last episode, is not going to let you even if that were a case, even if they were around the same age, Longa is not going to sit back and let Adam take control of that relationship. That's just not him. And so Adam's a little bit delusional, just a wee bit. I think that this is the first time he's found someone similar to him that can handle him, and he is instantly assuming that that is, yep, found the person, this is the one. And it's like, dude, this is the first person you found, maybe you need to get a second opinion, or look elsewhere too. But yeah, I feel like Adam in a lot of ways has a very repressed psyche where he's just been constantly under his aunt's thumbs. And so while he is an adult and he's in this adult profession and he's running a company, the S Underground and everything, he still very much is a bit immature in his like social and relationship status and how that's been developing. So lots of interesting things happening. And last episode I said it at the end, it's setting up Reki doesn't want Longa to skate against Adam. He doesn't want him around Adam. But Longa's found a challenge, and it's hard when you found someone you want to skate against and suddenly somebody's like, don't do that. It's hard, and I'm seeing where it's probably going to cause conflict. But we've got a beach episode, so no worries about that. We won't worry about that now. Who cares about that? It's the beach. So we'll save that for episode 7, right? So in any case, I'm really excited for this episode. I hope y'all are too. I've waited a week. It's been a week, and I've been so ready to jump into episode 6. I was like, I feel festive today. We're going to the beach. I feel like Joe with my crazy shirt on. Which this kind of matches Skate. It's very colorful and floral. So yeah, let's do this, guys. I'm so excited. I hope you all are too. Please feel free to comment down below. Please, no spoilers. But we are going to start episode 6, Steamy Mystery Skating. That doesn't sound beachy unless there's like a sauna or a hot tub involved. Which it's Skate, so who knows? But we're going to start this episode here in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and let's go. Ooh. Oh! Okay! Holy cow, you guys! Ah! I loved that episode. That was a lot more, I mean, there wasn't a whole lot plot-wise going on because it's just them going to the beach, but there's a lot of character development and little tiny pieces of information coming out that are starting to add on and build this world, which I am kind of all about. So first of all, so many things to go through. The idea of this woman, the Mantis woman, who is we got to talk about her and her thing with Adam. Tadashi, the black-haired man's name is Tadashi, and the reason why that's such a big deal, and it makes so much sense as Tadashi, is if you know the Japanese meaning of Tadashi, it basically means servant. So, of course he's called Tadashi. Yeah, it's literally what he is. Longa being Catholic is interesting because he did the Father, Son, Holy Spirit, the Catholic thing, the prayer before going into the terrible restroom. So Longa being Catholic, that's very interesting. I'm guessing that's from his father's side in Canada, but that adds a whole nother aspect to the biblical allegory here and all the angels and demons. And you know what? Going with the 90s theme, because I said this show kind of has like a 90s vibe to it. Angels and demons were huge in the 90s. There was Buffy the Vampire Slayer. There was Supernatural, came out in 2005, which was a little bit after the 90s, obviously, but there was lots of City of Angels. There was a lot of angels and demon motifs in the 90s that were pretty big. So the whole biblical allegory here kind of, it matches this show, I feel. But yeah, Longa being Catholic, that's interesting. That's curious. That goes along with the whole angel symbolism and everything, and the Adam and Eve. It's all coming together. But yeah, so Tadashi is his name. Longa's apparently Catholic. Joe, you like ladies, but you were definitely checking out Kaoru, thinking he was a girl for a second. And the idea that their history getting more and more explained. Like Kaoru, Cherry Blossom making the comment of saying, oh, well, you always liked haunted houses and stuff like that. And Joe kind of deflects it and he's like, oh, well, yeah, that was just to get the girls to like hang on me when they get scared. But it's like, you two clearly know a lot about each other. And Cherry Blossom, For as much as he doesn't, as much as he calls Joe a big gigolo gorilla and everything, there's a little air of jealousy there. And there's an air of Cherry knows a lot about you and he's remembered a lot about you, because you can know somebody for a long time and not remember things about them, like what they like or dislike. But Cherry knows. So I'm like, ooh. And I was going to talk about that too, is that I've been watching the English dub simultaneously after each episode, and I can't wait to watch this in the English dub. But I've been watching it, and the English dub is so good. It's so good. But I found out that the voice director, the ADR director for this series, he is the voice of Adam. And he does a fantastic job. Like, he's phenomenal. But he's gay. And he did a series, like it was on Patreon in the Discord, talking about him doing an interview where he said that he wants to hire like LGBTQ plus actors and actresses for various parts. And so the voice actor in the English dub for Cherry is gay, and then the voice actor for Joe is bisexual, which I think, and they, if you watch the dub, they play it up. Like, they play up Cherry and Joe. The scene where Cherry shows everybody how to do the love hug, like when he gets close to Joe, he's like, hello, and Joe's like, you're too close. But it's like, oh, it's so good. It's so good. But I love that. And that just adds, Adam to me is clearly, he's so flamboyant and there's a lot of pageantry with what he does in his personality as Adam, Inosuke's, but there's also like some subtle subtext there, and I want to delve more into it, but I want to watch a little bit more before I do, because I want to see if we get more with this Adam and Eve metaphor and this allegory here, to see if there's more to dive into it. But Tadashi, and Tadashi just standing there holding his coat while he practices skateboarding. It's like, I have a soft spot for people pining with unrequited love and pining. I get that with Sosuke and Free, and I'm starting to get that with Tadashi in this show. And I'm like, oh, dude, I want you to just tell Adam how you feel. And it's just not happening. But, okay, so this woman, the Mantis woman, I like how condescending Adam is about her. He's like, oh, she's just this new delegate from Tokyo University. Like, oh, you're just a scholarly schoolgirl who's just come in here thinking you're going to change things. And Adam's like, I am a prestigious social elite. Like, I come from like my pedigree and bloodlines, and you're just a university tech student. I get that vibe and how he feels like about her, but she clearly is the one that called the cops on them, and she's suspicious. Why is there no police in this area? Why is nobody doing this? Why are you tied to this area, Inosuke? So I feel like she's going to be the antagonist of the antagonist. And I feel like she's going to have nothing to do with our cast of characters, but she's going to be secretly trying to like find stuff out about Adam, which I find so curious. And of course she has the red hair, he has the blue hair. They're like polar opposites each other, of course. And I like how she's even creeped out by him, because he's not creepy to her really, except for the toe click thing. He's like, I figured things out, and she's just like, ugh. Like Adam Inosuke, when he's in the Inosuke persona, he seems to constantly want to throw people off their game, and he's trying to do that with her, but she seems like the type of person that she's not really gonna fall for it. She's gonna be like, okay. So yeah, that's so exciting. Also, I really love that Mia in this episode. I love just the character dynamics. Like, of course, the monsters or the ghosts, they didn't read the festival flyer, and they were just trying to put mud on people to ward off evil. And it's like, okay, in a weird way. But I just love the character development. I love that Hiromi, again, Shadow has become one of my favorites in the show because he's so relatable to me. I feel like I would be Shadow, and I wouldn't dress up in clown makeup and do that, obviously, but as far as being the adult in the situation, because Cherry doesn't really care. Cherry just has his job to worry about. He's not here to babysit, so he's like, kids, you just go on your own. I've got a job to do. Joe is basically a man-child. He just is like, I don't hold Joe for very much responsibility outside of his restaurant. And then, obviously, Longa, Reki, and Mia are kids. And so Hiromi, the 24-year-old, is the only one put in this position of having to be an adult. And I love that Hiromi loves his manager, because when he gets drunk off the sake, he's like, I just love her so much. And it's like, oh! And I love that he wasn't going to go with them, but then I love that shot of all of them hanging off of them being like, are you going to let us go all by ourselves? And the manager's like, you have to chaperone them. And that's the push. And Mia knows that Hiromi likes the manager. And now everybody knows because he's such a lightweight and got drunk off the sake and told everyone. But I love it. I love that Hiromi's like, I booked the hotel. We're keeping this cheap. I'm being responsible. I'm like, that would be me. And I'm like, okay, yep, that it's so good. And I love Mia as being kind of the odd one out because he's so young that he's our resident trickster and kind of, you know, the antagonizing person. But I love that Mia's kind of on Cherry's side. And he's kind of like wanting to, I feel like Mia's kind of a matchmaker because him doing the whole, Dad, Mom says you need to go back over there. And it's like, can Mia become their adopted child? I kind of want him to be. I love this found family dynamic that's developed between these like 6 individuals. There's such a found family there with this little group. And it's kind of, you know, you've got Joe and Cherry and you've got Ricky and Longa. And then Hiromi's kind of off trying to get the manager's attention. And Mia's kind of too young to even think about romance or anything like that. But I love that the dynamic of this group is so fun. And it's just, it's just such a different, unique cast of characters. And I didn't really want Adam in this episode, but the parts we did get of Adam, like the setup between him and the Mantis Woman, I'll have to go back and get her name down, him and her, and calling her Chan, and then the reveal of Tadashi's name, and then the idea of a tournament. Oh my, because I'm sure Adam thinks that him and Longa are going to end up being the last 2 skating, right? They're going to be the last 2 skating, and so this whole tournament is just going to set up the ultimate prize, which is to get to skate against Longa uninterrupted again. And I feel bad for Reki because Longa is quiet, but has a lot of, his Longa's confidence isn't shaken. He's kind of like Adam in a sense that he's very self-confident and he has good esteem and he just needs to learn things. And once he learns them, he can practice and he gets good at them. Reki is so talented. Like, he's an inventor. He's always positive. He has that big brother mentality where he's constantly worried about his friends and he's compassionate towards them. He has so much going for him. But because he's not a prodigy and because he's not a naturally amazing skater, he's so self-loathing sometimes. And in this episode, he was really self-loathing, being like, I just need to get better because otherwise I'm going to get left behind. And it's like, Reki, you have so much going towards you. Don't do that. And I like that him and Joe are kind of kindred spirits. They're both both into like their intuition and they go by their instinct when they skate. And so I feel like there's a connection between those two, and there's kind of like a quiet, self-determined connection between Longa and Cherry. And I feel like those 2 pairs are going to kind of talk to each other and figure things out. It reminds me very much of Given, and I've made that comment before in previous episodes, but like the Haruki and Kaji with Uenoyama and Mafiu, it's like the 2 older pairings. But I feel like with this show, the parallels are a bit bigger. Like, they're more obvious, I think, the parallels than they are in Given here. But, oh man, I just want Reki to be happy and to have more self-confidence in himself. And I feel like him being around Longa, he gets that, but I worry that he's going to think that Longa's going to leave him. And Longa's clearly made that clear that's not going to happen, but I don't know, y'all. And the last thing I wanted to comment was that Longa wearing the sleeveless shirt reminded me so much of Kyoya from Ouran High School Host Club, because Kyoya always wore like the sleeveless shirts with his arms out, and he was kind of pale too. So I kept thinking that the whole episode. I'm like, man, you're kind of like Kyoya. And Kyoya kind of has that kind of homosexual gay vibe with his character too in the show in Ouran High School. And so I get that with Longa. I don't believe Longa's interested in girls, especially not after that scene where Reki tried to hit on the girl and it failed miserably. I don't think that's the case. So subtext, lots of subtext. I'm not kidding. I'm going to have, by the end of the show, I'm sure, a giant mug. My giant coffee cup will have a label on it that just says symbolism, allegories, and subtext. I'm just going to be like, because that's how I feel when I watch this show. There's just so much to talk about. And even though this was kind of a fluff episode, I just feel like there was so much that was given to us in terms of character development and little subtle things to set up for the next episode. And I'm all ready for it. I'm ready for a tournament. Oh, so yeah, I've rambled enough. I'm gonna go back this and watch this in the English dub. I'm sure it's gonna be so much fun. But I hope you all enjoyed this reaction. Please feel free to comment down below. And yeah, next episode, we don't balance out. I don't know how I feel about that. So in any case, I hope you all have a wonderful week. Please stay safe, take care, and I'll be back next week with more Skate the Infinity.